I was muted. Sorry. Hey, Facebook. Hi, YouTube. How are you tonight? We have a special edition of the Art of Transparency talk show tonight. I am your host, Lakita Moore. We are talking to single mothers tonight. We're going to talk about raising a king as a single mother. I know oftentimes we say, single motherhood is hard and stuff like that. But tonight we're gonna kind of dig in and get some mental health advice, right? Should we or shouldn't we do mental health? So we'll get to talk about all of that good stuff with all of my guests. Oh my gosh, I have some amazing guests tonight. Oh my goodness. First time on the show for most of them. But we are going to have an amazing time. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves and tell you who they are and why they chose to be on the show tonight. So just hang in there with us, okay? I need you to share this out, share this out, share this out, because this is the special edition, and I think we need to talk about it, okay? So on tonight, I have some special guests. I always have to not get nobody's name wrong because nope, not me. So tonight we are featuring some single moms. We have Jamesia Jonay, Rika Wright, and Joy Thomas. And then we have our clinical therapist, Frankie or Francesca Barnes. So give me a second and they're coming in right now. Hi, ladies.
Hi, how you
Hi.
doing?
And we are live on the Art of Transparency talk show page, and we are live on YouTube. So share, 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 share. Hello, 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 all of the viewers. So I'm going to jump right into it so we can get on to this good old topic of raising a king as a single mother. But I am going to allow you, Francesca, to go first. I'm getting tongue tied already. And tell us who you are and what you do. And then tell us how many kids you have.
Hey. Well, thank you, Makita. It is always a pleasure to be on your talk shows. I count it as a blessing. So again, thank you for inviting me to be here. My name is Francesca. I also go by Frankie. I am a licensed clinical professional counselor. I have been in the counseling field for going on 10 years now. Something I absolutely love and what I have been called to do. So I do work for a nonprofit organization as my day job, and I also have a small practice of my own, which is called Faith Changes Behavior. I have 4 children. My oldest daughter just turned 25 this month, and I have a 21-year-old son. I also have 2 little girls who are 8 and 9. Oh, I'm sorry, my 8-year-old just turned 9 this month, and then I have a 7-year-old daughter as well. Yeah, that is me. Yeah, I work from home as many of you. It is crazy life. I've been traded in for the world.
We was getting a little bit of feedback. Say that one more time. You work from home.
Yeah, I'm just saying I work from home like most of everyone else does, and it is a crazy home with little ones kind of running around, doing their homeschooling stuff. But yeah, it's what we do, and so we've been blessed.
Yay! So the next person that is on my screen is Joy. Joy, tell us who you
Hey,
are and what
hi,
do
what's
you
going
do?
on? Hi, Facebook. Hi, YouTube. Hi, all the mommies and non-mommies, daddies, whoever's watching what's going on. My name is Joy Thomas. A little bit about myself. I'm currently a stay-at-home mom due to the pandemic, which it's pros and cons to it. We get about into that later. But I just graduated from college last year, 2020, May 2020. So I'm kind of in this like discovery phase of my life, just kind of testing the waters, jobs here and there, just kind of getting my foot into the world. And of course, the pandemic has kind of turned that upside down. I have a 6-year-old son named Zayden. Hi, Zayden. Um, but yeah, I'm getting my brand together, Choose Joy. So it's for all those it's really catered to Black women, and it's really catered to mothers who are struggling with finding themselves and choosing their happiness for themselves over not just because of their children, but because of them. Because at the end of the day, mothers are still people. They're not just mothers. So be on the lookout for that. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Yay! And Rika, you are next.
Hi everybody, how you doing tonight on this Monday? I'm definitely glad to be here with all of you and all of you amazing single moms on this platform. Definitely appreciate you, Marquita, for inviting me to your show tonight. I definitely appreciate that. So my name is Rika Wright, and I'm ex-Navy. I'm originally from Queens, New York, and I'm currently residing in Palm Beach. And so I have a credit repair business where, of course, we repair credit. We have a bunch of other products too to help people really stay on a good financial track. So, of course, with the pandemic last year, a lot of people, were hit hard, and so this year I'm just looking to help as many families as I can to improve their credit, improve, their financial lifestyle, and get them to where they need to be. I have an amazing 11-year-old. He's an artist, and he has his own business as well called I Am AJ Arts. And you can follow him on Instagram at I Am AJ Arts. And so he loves to draw. He's probably drawing right now. And yeah, that's it for me. And I do work from home.
Yay! So we have been blessed to work from home. Goodness. And Jamesia, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
You're kind of a little bit delayed again. I think it's the two devices together.
Nope, I got a plan B. Uh-oh.
Technology is not, yeah, let me tell you, the virtual world of technology has been crazy. Last night's show, we were late getting on the show because of technology. Like, it just wasn't our friend. We couldn't connect. Facebook wouldn't let us go live. It was just absolutely crazy. So just hang in there with the technology. Get it together. So we get a lot of feedback.
Yeah, my phone.
You want to go from your phone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go out and
Okay.
come back in.
Yep.
I'm telling you, technology is so crazy. We've been working with this for like 20 minutes and then it got great. And now it's back to craziness. So we're going to move on. So I am, as most of you know, I am Makita Moore. I am a mother of 5. Not sure how many of my viewers actually know that because I talk about my kids little to none, unless we're talking about a different type of show. So I am Makita Moore. I'm a mother of 5. My children range in age from 29. I'm cute. From 29 to 9. Don't judge me. But I'm I am also raising my oldest grandson, and he is 11. Again, don't judge me. So I have a 9-year-old and 11. Well, I have a 9-year-old daughter and then an 11-year-old grandson in the home, right? So I get to experience raising my son again, or raising a son again. So the reason for the show tonight is because I know for me, the impact that it has had, or COVID and being at home and not being around his friends, not seeing male figures. Yes, he sees his dad every other weekend, like because they go to, my mom's house or whatever have you. So he's with his dad all the time. Like, weekends are not a problem. So it's not like he doesn't have that, but he used to see men every day. You got the campus monitors at school. You've got the male teachers. You've got the male office, they like principals and stuff like that. You've got males. You've got strong male role models. And he's not seeing that. Then he goes to a school K through 12, so he gets to see the older kids as well. He's not seeing those kids. So it has taken a toll on him. So I wanted to come on here tonight and really talk about what it looks like to raise a king, right? In the midst of COVID, in the midst of all of the racism going on, in the midst of everything that we have to deal with as adults. What does that look like for them, especially our Black boys? What does that look like? So we're going to have some conversations tonight. So share this out, share this out, share this out, because we're going to get right into it. So the first question I have for the moms is, how has COVID impacted your baby? Oh, let me go back because Jamesia is back. Give me a second. You back?
Yes.
Hey, so tell us who you are and what do you
Sure,
do?
I am Janicia Zome. I'm the wealth creator. I show people how to use other people's money to pay their mortgage, create cash flow, generate generational wealth, and protect their assets. I do that through the power of entrepreneurship, real estate, and life insurance, three of the best wealth building tools there are. I do work from home, luckily, and I'll talk about that as it relates to my son when we get into that. I'm raising a 15-year-old. I have one kid, one and done. It's over for me, and that's who I am.
Thank you so much. And yes, perfect connection. So we were just getting into how has COVID impacted your child? What have you seen the differences in the child? I mean, I get it that we're virtual now, but I know for me, that emotional and that mental, it's been something. So, Joy, we'll go with you because you've got the youngest baby.
Oh,
So,
my
what does that
baby.
look like?
Um, Ooh, so it's been tough because A, my son is the only child, and B, school really was his outlet. Where he in daycare, like he's not in daycare either, so he had all the friends at daycare and all the friends at school. And where we live, there's not really a lot of kids and social interaction for him. So he's just kind of like been on his tablet a lot and just kind of like, "Mommy, play with me. Mommy, do this." And it's like, okay, but I'm like, mommy really doesn't want to do that, or mommy can't do that because mommy's, trying to do X, Y, and Z. But it's just been really hard on him. He's been very, very, very sensitive, very emotional, very like, when he's on the e-learning, he sees like the other kids are maybe a little more advanced than he is in different areas, and he's kind of like, well, mommy, I can't do it like them, and I can't, with them being in e-learning, everything's so like close knit on the computer, like you see everything on this one little screen, and he feels as though he's not good enough. And so he's very hard on himself and very like, well, mommy, I just can't wait to go back into the school. And this is just not going to work. And so it's just very, a lot of low self esteem. So, I try to help build him up and help, telling him like this is only temporary. But, with the school steadily, delaying the return back to school, it's kind of like this is almost permanent. I mean, they've pretty much been doing e learning since March. So they've kind of been doing this for like a year. And it's
Yeah.
just like, it's almost one of those like, they're so deep in, how do you like get them out? I was talking to my mom, like when they go back, like what are they gonna
What does
do?
that
How
look
are they
like?
gonna flip that? How are they gonna how can the parents prepare, for them to send them back? They say, oh, in mid-February we'll go back, but it's like, okay, that's a lot for parents to try to like flip after being at home for so long, and to get them in the mindset of sitting in the chair, keeping the mask on all day, being distant, not being able to have recess or lunch. He just told me the other day, like, mommy, I want to do basketball. And it's like, there's no sport, there's no sport. So with him being young, and with my son being so young, he doesn't really understand like maybe some of the other moms. It's a lot of reinforcing, a lot of repeating and reassuring. So yeah.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm with you. Oh gosh. What is it like for you, Rika? What is it like to every day? What's your everyday? What is that like?
So mine's a little bit different from Joy, only reason being because the year before COVID happened, I decided to start homeschooling my son. And
Mm,
so we were already, you know, home, so it wasn't much of a transition there. Um, the difference for me was the activities. You know, a
Okay.
lot of things started closing down, uh, sports and just the activities, you know, and us going to church on Sunday. You know, one of his best friends is at church. And so that was it for me. It was like, okay, how do I, you know, what do we do for activities where you can get around other children or other even adults? Because
Yeah.
I'm always with my business, I'm always out, I'm always vending, I'm always talking to somebody somewhere, and he comes with me everywhere I go. You know, I want to show him how to be an entrepreneur too. So he just shadows me. So now a lot of my events, you know, I cancel and I'm doing everything on Zoom. And so that's been a little bit different, trying to allow him to just be on his phone or be on, you know, an electronic device so he can do school. But and then having the male role models that are
Right.
not there physically,
Hmm.
you know, of course they're not in the home, but outside of the home. So
Right.
that's kind of different. So he's like on WhatsApp, on Zoom, FaceTime with, you know, with people that I know, my good male friends that, you know, that I look up to, that I can say, okay, they're a good role model for you to video with. And so it's been different. You know, that's been different for me.
Do you see a difference in him?
Um, I do, because he's kind of more attached to like his video games, and I don't want to, you know, I do set a time because I don't want him to sit in front of the video game all day. But at the same time, sometimes I feel like, okay, what else does he have to do? You know what I mean? So I'm trying to like figure out what activities can we do? Are there things that are starting to maybe open back up, you know, in the community? Is it safe for me to send him out and, you know, start some things? Because I was out driving the other day and they had it wasn't martial arts, but something similar. And I mean, it was packed. All the kids were there, the mothers were there, and I'm like, oh, they in there deep, you know. And so I'm like, do I send him, you know, to something like that? Just get him out the house, to get him involved in activities again. You know, do you want to do martial arts? Do you want to stay home? And
Right.
now, of course, he's used to it, just like Joy said, they're used to being home, and it's like, I'll just sit here and play my video games. And I'm like, no, you're not. You know, so, you know, that's the challenge. That's the challenge right now. Do I
Wow.
send him somewhere that is open for activities, or, you know, figure something else out? So I'm just trying to kind of figure that out this month, and then move forward from there. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure everything is crowded, right? Because we've been at home for all this time. So some mothers, right, are like, okay, it's open. Let's go. You want to go
Right.
skating? Hey, it's open. Come on, let's
Right. It's
go.
like, let's go. But it's
Right,
like, but where do you go? You know,
right.
a lot of things are still shut down as it pertains to children. You know, a lot of it was a couple, and I keep saying martial arts because for some reason that's a lot, it's over here everywhere. One of them
Right.
is shut down. Like, you look in the window, nothing's there. They emptied the whole gym out, and
A
so
lot
it's
of
just looking for places and activities that are actually, you know, doing something.
yeah, a lot of businesses closed. They couldn't survive. They
Right.
couldn't survive not making the money to pay out money. So
Right.
they had no choice, right? So I get that. Jamesia, what does it look like, or how has it impacted your child?
Sure. So, impact on my child now, similar to Rika, we started homeschooling
Hmm.
the beginning of the last school year. It was something I had always wanted to do. Part of it was semi by force on his end. So he'll be looking into an alternative method to finish high school, full transparency, but he gets it now. Like, mama can't save you from everything. But for him, a couple of things that weren't mentioned, he doesn't think he needs to shower every day and put clothes on now, right? Now, I make him do schoolwork and he has a schedule. My son is very, if he has a schedule, he's the type, he's going to stick to it. There is no, okay, mom, this 9 o'clock went past 10, but it's like 10 o'clock, get up and go. I'm going to my next activity. But it's like, okay, put a shirt on, put some clothes on. Feeding them, right? I know mothers are going through, you want 3 meals a day, you need to go to school, because look, no. You want me to make breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you want snacks? So my grocery bill went up, but my son is very aware. He's always been aware of like current events and things like that. So for Christmas, I wanted to surprise him with a vacation, and he was like, I don't want to go because I don't want to get stuck. So he's paying attention to what's going on in the news. And it was like, no, it's okay. We can go and we'll come back home. What's been different for us, I have a very close knit family, but a lot of my family members are older. So
Right.
we're not getting together because when I say it's my mom is 65, her sisters, her brothers, my grandmother. So just not exposing. So we're not getting together like we used to. So while there are no males in the home, we have them in the family. But even my dad just had surgery and battled cancer last year. So we cautiously aren't going around people we were going around. So he's really missing that family
Yeah.
interaction, the social. He's like, I don't want to catch the COVID, so I'm good on people. Like that's where my kid is. But not having that outlet, being the only kid, like Joy said, it's just me and him in the house, and he is on video games and a lot trying to monitor that. But to your point, what else is there to do? I have my son in swimming, basketball, always keeping him busy. I believe in keeping boys and kids busy. So just turning into a homebody and being in the house all the time, not really getting fresh air, especially now that it's cold, right? In Chicago. So those have been the major differences. He's aware and he's concerned about COVID and health.
Wow. And I hate to say this, but I hope it really snow. Like, I hope we get some inches. And I'm only saying that because I'm going to actually let my kids go outside in the backyard and play in the snow. Like, go out there and get cold, come in. Like, my finger. Like, I need you to do that, right? I need you to do that because all you see is the same four walls, right? Your room, the basement, the kitchen, all day, every day. And I know that it's taking a toll on my grandson. It's bad. So Francesca, help us out. What's happening over there? But see, your baby is in the 20s, but it can affect him too, right? Like, so help us.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So my son is 21 and he is back on college campus. This is something that was very, very hard for my husband and I to sort of decide, how to do this because one, we wanted to give him some agency about, hey, he's a college student, right? Like, can he do school from home? Absolutely. Does he want to do school from home? And I think the biggest sort of challenge and sort of agreement we kind of came to was like, what feels right for him. His thing was like, if I'm doing school from home, mom, like I'm not going to get online when I'm supposed to, right? Like I'm not going to get up for that 9 a.m. class because I would rather sleep in. But he felt like being back at the college campus would give him a sense of feeling that he was at school, even though everything is still online. And so, we were supportive and we allowed him to go back. And I think for the first time, my son just realized like, hey, this is like, I'm feeling a little depressed, right? Like, and to hear anyone who knows my son, he is a cool cucumber. He is the coolest person you could ever be around. Like his demeanor is just like, all is well in the world, And so for him to say like, I am feeling depressed like that, I appreciated him being able to verbalize that, but then just realize like the most calmest person in the world, like they're struggling as well. And he did, seek out some counseling for himself. And my children know me being a therapist, I'm big on that. And I model that, for them because I have a therapist myself as well. But I think just him being able to verbalize what those feelings were, that was so important. And, we tell him, hey, we're just a phone call away. We're just a couple of, hours drive away. We're intentional about, going to spend time with him in his dorm room. We make sure we have those weekly discussions with him where we're doing the FaceTime and just checking in with him and just, again, reiterating, hey, get in therapy if you need to, make sure you're reaching out to those loved ones because all of that is so important. So yeah, even as a 21-year-old, yeah, they're absolutely struggling as they're trying to navigate what so many of our children are attempting to do, which is complete their education. So yeah.
So help us out. What, from the aspect that we are at now, what are your suggestions as our clinical therapist? What are some of your suggestions to kind of help our boys, right, with this whole impacted life right now? COVID. I heard somebody say the other day, and it didn't hit me until later, but we got to learn how to live within COVID, right? We got to learn how to live with, because it may or may not go anywhere anytime soon. I got my own theory about that, but that's neither here nor there. But it may or may not go anywhere anytime soon. So now, how do we live? Because we can't continue to live like this. This is not conducive to anybody, right?
Yes.
This can't happen. So what advice would you give us as single moms? Some of us in the home without, it's just me and two kids. It's Joy and her son, Rika and her son. So, and then Rika, I don't know why I'm getting tongue tied. Jamesia and her son. So what advice can you give us to help them? Even, I believe in therapy. Absolutely I do. But with us as parents, what can we do?
Yeah, and you guys have already touched on quite a few of these already. So one, I think the one thing COVID has taught us is how to be creative, right? If we have not learned anything from this pandemic, we have learned how to be creative and be creative in our home spaces. And so one of the things I will say is, one, be honest and have the conversation about how difficult this is. I think the more our children are able to hear from us as the adults that, one, we're struggling, we're having a hard time with this is not easy for us as well, and be okay with being able to express those raw, real emotions about how difficult it is. That gives our children, our sons especially, to talk about these things. Like, very quickly, our sons are sort of wired to hold in their emotions. Men don't cry, men don't express those emotions. You have to be this tough person. And I think what we can do is, one, break that stigma of saying, no, tell mommy how you're feeling, right? I don't care how old you are, how young you are. Be able to tell your mom how you're feeling. This is hard, this is tough. And then we can have that conversation together. That's one step. That's two, like, this may sound crazy, but try to keep as normal of a routine with your kids as you possibly can, right? Like, one, we have a time when we get up. We have a time when we have lunch. We have a time when we play. We have a time when we go to bed. Mommy has a time when she's off work. Keeping that routine as normally as possible, because kids thrive on consistency, right? They know when to do this, and that. And when we're keeping life consistent for them, that gives them some hope that even if all is crazy in the world, my home is a safe haven. There's consistency, there's normalcy. We can give that to them. And I think sort of another one is this being creative, right? Like, yeah, we're praying for the snow so our kids can go outside and have some fun, right? Like, absolutely. Or creating safe play dates, right? If there's children in your family or in your neighborhood that you feel comfortable having a play date with. And again, you and the parent can kind of decide on what that looks like. One therapist friend who I absolutely love, Dr. Owens, she said to me that her and her family like created this pact of, hey, we're going to live safe so that our children can play together, right? So if there's individuals in your life that hey, they're staying safe, we're staying safe, we can have a safe play date. I highly, recommend that, because our children need to have some consistency and normalcy as much as possible. And those play dates, again, you can be creative with that as much as you possibly can. And that's safe if you feel comfortable with this. Let me also say that if you don't, then don't do anything that's gonna make you feel on edge or uncomfortable. But I think trying to keep some consistency as much as possible is important. And enjoy each other, right? Like, this is a time we're close together, we're doing things differently, we're not eating out as much because we're cooking at home. There's so many things that I've YouTubed with my children that have become a part of our normal routine. Like, we love to make pizza together, right? So it's just trying to create these new normals and these new environments that we have. And I think the more we can, again, talk about it, be consistent, and be creative. Our children, they're still going to have our struggles, but this is something that we're doing with them. And as long as we can sort of keep it normal, keep it consistent, and be creative, I think it'll definitely help our children in the long run. They're resilient, as we all can see.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Celebrating that resiliency with them, it definitely will pay off in the long run.
I get it. And I think that's great. And I think even with the play dates, let the kids do Zoom dates, like, so that they can at least interact without the teacher like, okay, lesson number such and such. You know what I'm saying? So maybe the Zoom with the other peers would still be good.
Absolutely.
So we got a few comments, and I know I am super late, so I do apologize with the comments. So I'm gonna go back. Robin Minor said, nice Joy. Auntie Robin. Thina said, y'all look beautiful. Thank you. Thina said 29 and 9. I know my kids are 29, and then I got a 9-year-old crazy. Hey Joy, you're a great mom. Somebody else, Christina Ford, says, hey Joy. Great mom, your work will pay off, Joy. And then some Talangia said watching. I think Coach was tagging somebody. And then somebody else said, hey, Joy. Joy, you got a lot of people. Hey, Joy. So my next thing for us to kind of talk about and just give the people just a little bit to just break up the monotony just a little bit. Do you as a woman feel like you can successfully teach him how to be a man? And I'm not saying raising, because I raised a 29-year-old and I think he's pretty dope, right? But I can also remember trying to potty train him, and I was like, I can't teach you how to stand up and go to the bathroom. Like, we're gonna have to figure this out together. So do you think that you can actually teach him how to be a man?
So I don't believe so. I'm not a man. I'll never be a man. I can't show him how to be a man. However, right, there are some values and some morals that I can instill in him that us as human beings need to have. I can show him how to be a leader. I can show him how to communicate. I can show him how to be, an effective human being in society. And so I think from that perspective, I can do my best to really train up a child in the way he should go. And when he's old, he will not depart from it. I believe in the word of God 100%. And so I'm raising him to, read the word, trust in God, pray. When mommy doesn't have the answer, guess what? God has the answer. Let's form that relationship is number one before anything.
Right.
So I think that's very important for him to cultivate a relationship with God, first. And then everything else second. So that's how I feel. I'm not a man, so I definitely can't show him how to be a man. However, I can just
teach you how to be a great
show him
human
how
being.
to be an amazing person. Yeah.
Jamisi, what you think?
Sure. So for me, I wholeheartedly agree with Rika. I can't teach him how to be a man, and I'm not even going to say don't even, I'm going to use an example. There are certain things our boys are not going to be receptive to just because we're mom, right?
Exactly.
So what I can teach him before I do the example real quick is how to treat a lady, what a woman should be like. Like, he takes out the trash when we go pick up my grandmother. He knows to meet her and open the door. I can teach him some gentlemanly things, but not how to be a man. So my son, we have different bathrooms. Toilet is just ridiculous, right? I've been fussing, talking like, this is how you clean it. You got to get all up under, showing him, because I believe in him being independent and knowing how to do household things. I don't get into gender roles like that. But my uncle comes over. I'm gone. Don't say anything to my uncle. My uncle comes over. I come home and my son says, Mom, Now I see what you were saying about the toilet. Uncle Will said something.
Mm.
And then he clicked, and I'm like, so sometimes and it's just needing that male. And then
Right.
it just so happened last week, my cousin came by and he went to my son's room and he was like, you can't be dating or your room is junk. I didn't prep them or anything. Boy cleaned the room the next day. So sometimes they just need that male presence because it's like they're used to us, we're mom, but definitely, like Rika said, instilling different values and principles in him, especially around family, spirituality, things like that. Yes, but no, I don't even know how to be a man. So I definitely can't teach him, but I'm thankful for our village.
Absolutely. And I asked this question because I've seen it so many times. Like, because you can't tell me I can't teach my son how to be a man. I can tell you that. I can. What do you think, Joy? Do you think you can successfully teach him how to be a man?
Woo. So when I first had my son, because I had my son at 16. So when I first had my son, I was just so bent on like, I gotta teach him how to be a man. Like, I can do it, And then, as the more he got older, I was like, okay, wait. Like Rika said about the bathroom, I can't, like, I don't have that. And then it was just different emotions and just different little, like, he would bang his head, like just different little things. And now he's getting older. Like this weekend we went shoe shopping, he like, I don't like those shoes, mom. And I'm like, well, who paying for them? Like, it's like he's getting like this like grown up-y kind of, I don't like these shoes, I don't like these clothes. And so I'm teaching him that independence. A lot of people talk about how girls are raised to be independent. I'm raising my son to be independent. We've been learning how to cook. I'm teaching him how to properly wash himself, a little deodorant, a little spritz of cologne, just different,
Yeah.
keeping his hair cut, making sure, don't come to me with your breath stinking because I'm gonna tell you. We try to go out on little dates, open the door for mommy, saying hello to your grandmother, just being assertive, respectful, just showing him, I don't have all the answers, but I do try to place him like with my grandfather. He really influences him, and just his godfather, teaching to show him that there are examples out there, even though you don't have it
Absolutely.
there in the home. So at first I'm like, I could raise
I
him to
can
be a
do this.
man.
Yeah.
Right, I could do
Yeah.
it. And now I'm like, I could do it with help. How about that?
But Keisha said correct that part. I can hear her saying this like correct. Yep, that part. When we were talking about raising, we can teach them certain things, but we can't teach them how to be a man, right? She also said, I love that answer. Jackie said, as a woman, we can only take our son so far. A male child has to experience male energy and positive male exposure that they can emulate. I absolutely 100% agree with that, right? And again, my oldest son is 29 years old. And I can honestly say my part in that was teaching him respect, opening doors, take out the trash, the human part of it, right? Or just being a decent human being. But it took him to experience stuff with his dad, experience things with male figures to be the person that he is now. My son, was born and raised, of course, in the church. So he was under the pastors a lot. Good, bad, or indifferent, right? He would always find his way to the pulpit, and he would always be with the pastor. So I felt like, okay, so you gonna experience some word, and you're gonna see a man, right? You're gonna see how he dresses, how he walks, how he talks to people. So I absolutely agree with the fact that as a woman, right, we can't necessarily teach you how, or teach our sons how to be a man. We can definitely teach them how to be amazing human beings. We can teach them all, right from wrong. But then again, as Jamesia said, it takes a man sometime to come in and say, hey, clean this room up. Because I promise you, My grandson lives here with me, but if his father comes over here and says, "Hey, your grandma called me and told me blah 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 blah," he like straightens up and his whole. I'm like, but I've been hollering for 3 days. And
My grandfather, he always says, like, you ain't got to do all that hollering at them. Sometimes you just got to talk to them. It's like, but they not listening.
Dad comes over here and, yes, sir. Okay, sir. Son, I've been telling you to clean that room. Like, yeah. So I get it. And I'm like that as an adult, right? I tell people a lot of times, like, I think I have a little bit of an issue with female authority figures. And it's bad. I know it's bad. I'm not saying it's not bad. I'm working on it. I'm in therapy for it, okay? But if a man says something, I tend to kind of listen a little bit more. And that's crazy because I'm super grown, like super grown. And I kind of listen like, oh, well, maybe I need to think about it this way. And somebody else could have just told me the same thing. And because it was a woman, I'm like, I don't know if she knows what she's talking about. So I think that we can teach them a certain thing, but we cannot teach them how to be a man. And I believe that sometimes a male figure even with my daughter, I know we're talking about the boys, but even with my daughter, when her dad says to do something, she's like, okay. So I think it's just like a male figure. I think the male figure has that when they walk in the room, kids know that this is authority. This is, I don't know. We're going to have to figure that out together. I'm going to work on that. So we have another, wait, I lost where we were. Okay, Keisha says sometimes us mothers with girls need that too. I'm telling you, we do. Octavia said, I just turned in late. What is the topic? The topic is single mothers raising kings, or raising kings as a single mother. This Kimberly says, as an educator, I truly appreciate young men that are respectful and have great hygiene. Amen. LOL. So thank you, Joy, and the other moms for being that great mother to your son. Their teacher appreciates you. Absolutely. Do not go to school. Don't get in the tub, son, because you're a little foul. Don't. Yes. And then Jackie said it's not the powerful male energy. And that very well could be what it is. It's that we need that powerful male energy. And then Reginald says it takes a village. I absolutely believe that. I absolutely believe that it takes a village. So Francesca, we're gonna come back so you can help us with some more stuff. But as a single mom, are you scared for your son in today's society? Whether it be the streets, racism, police brutality, whatever the case is, are you as a single mom scared for your son? Your black baby, your brown baby walking around in this society. Are you scared?
For me, and I'm going to give an example. I believe in giving examples. So after 8th grade freshman year, my son, we're on the west side, school is in Bronzeville. He wants to ride the train. Nervous wreck, right? I'm a nervous wreck, but at the same time,
what?
Listen, and it's more so life is just different. Like I grew up in the 90s in Chicago on the west side. I took the Madison bus. My school was in the heart of the ghetto, but life is just different. And my father used to work for the train, and he's like, and kids, people don't pay attention. They're like, so I'm like, son, granddaddy said, don't sit in the inside of the seat, because my dad worked on CTA, so he knows how they rock. Things happen on the train. So fearful in that sense of some of the younger people out here just bother folks to bother them. So my son is by himself. So worried about that type of thing. And then my son he can be very respectful, but at the same time, he has a mouth. So understanding certain authority figures, you only get one time, if that. So even being concerned about that, and actually It was one of the days we were supposed to be going on lockdown or something. He was stopped while walking to the store. And he texted me like, "Ma, this cop stopped me and asked me where I was going." And he's walking on foot. So even him going to the store, because I allow him to do that, he's 15, but definitely like concerned and thinking about, I'm not gonna be like okay until he walks back through the door. So absolutely.
Absolutely. What do you think, Rika?
So, and I agree with Jamesia 100%. Like my son, I live in Palm Beach, so but I'm originally from New York. So raised in New York and here is like night and day. It is night and day. Um, the area where we are, I think, is pretty safe. However, we know nowhere is safe, right? So in the morning, one of his tasks and his routine is to walk the dog. And so when he goes and walks the dog, I'm like, make sure you have your phone. You know,
And all you're doing is going to walk the dog.
to walk the dog. Okay. And, you know, I know the neighbors and everything. And still, I'm like, make sure you have your phone because you don't know if a crazy person going to drive down the street and open up their van door and shoot, you know. So I'm always on edge until he gets back. You know, I don't like that. And so, you know, just walking the dog, I'm like, okay, he been gone a little too long. Do I need to call him? I need to text him and see if everything's okay. And I'm like, no, calm down. Like this is the conversation I'm having with myself. Like, calm down.
Right. I
He'll be
get it.
back in a second. Yeah, and I'm just sitting there like, and then I hear the door open. I'm like, okay, I can go back, you know, to my clients or something. Like it's just like that. You know, he's not in a school building, so I don't have to worry about that because that used to be stressful in itself. You know, being at school and things that were happening, you know, on in the media. You heard about even before COVID when they were in school, a lot of things were happening. You know, your child goes to school, you don't know if they're gonna come back home. And so now that he is home, I don't have to worry so much about that. But when he go walk that dog, I'll be like, ooh, because you just don't know. You know, you just don't know. And I want to prepare him for, you know, even the police. Before we moved here, we were in Virginia, and we were at Walmart, and a guy, it was a African American gentleman, and I don't know what happened. We weren't there before, you know, we pulled up in the parking lot. We were walking into Walmart, and it's like 6 cop cars outside, and they start tasing the man. And I purposely had my son stand there with me and say, do you see this? You know, like I need you to see it. I need you to understand what's going on right now. This ain't for play. This is not on TV. Like we literally just got here and this man is on the ground screaming. And these cops is like, it's okay. One has their knee in his back. The other one is tasing him. And I'm like, I said, that doesn't need to be happening. I said, but this can happen. You know, and I'm like, do you see what can happen? I'm like, you see why I tell you need to listen to me? And So we have a whole speech now going on, you know.
Turned into a whole lesson at Walmart.
Yeah, and I'm just, you know, you go through all of that as a mom because you want the best for your son. You don't want them to end up on the news. You don't want them to end up as a statistic or, you know, oh, you know, you found this child in the alleyway or what, you know, whatever. And so I wanted him to see that. And then the movie came out, Queen and Slim. I don't know if y'all saw it.
I did.
I was like, oh my God. And I watched it with him, you know, and at the end of the movie, and I was there crying, and he looking at me like, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, but let me tell you what happened, okay? Because the cop, and he was just like, you know, as a mom of a Black king, all these emotions just started going through me, you know, because it's like, wow, if you can do that, the whole movie, it just didn't make sense if y'all saw it, you know. It was just like, wow,
right?
Yeah, it didn't have to go that far from the jump, you know. So I'm like, if that happened there, and we see it happening and happening and happening and happening everywhere, not just in a movie. So it just tugged at my heart, like, oh my God. And so after that, you know, after I stopped crying, he was like, Ma, it was a movie. I'm like, yeah, it was a movie, but this is happening in real life. So
real life. Wow. That's good. That's good. Joy, are you scared? Because your baby is 6, so
Oh my
things
God.
were
It's
nowhere near what it is today. So are you scared?
scared is not even the word. I'm fearful because my son, he's seen a lot in his little 6 years of life from um just okay, so I wouldn't say I've sheltered him, but I just try to protect him. So the lifestyle that I want him to have, or the upbringing, I try to. I want that to be different, from other black boys. So a lot of things I shield him from or don't expose him to, but he's still seen a lot. Last year during the protest, our cousin was in Atlanta, and he was the young man who was pulled out of the car and who was tased with his friend. And my son saw that, and he was like, well, why are they doing that to him, and why. But then on the other end, my son, he's seen black males come and not attack me, but come up to me harsh and kind of like threaten me. He's seen both ends of the spectrum. When last summer when there was protesting, I brought him with because I was like, you need to, even though you're 6, you need to see this. You need to, not pushing him and forcing it on him, but just exposing to him, like, this is a real thing. There are little kids that experience, things like that. He's told me he's had dreams where the police has like shot him in the head. He's had dreams where people have like taken him away. So just kind of bringing him back to me, just knowing that. And I always tell him, like, mommy's not going to always be here, but mommy's going to always be here. I may not be here in the physicality of it all, but I'm going to be here in spirit. I'm going to be here in your heart, and just, showing him he's very protective of me and women and his family. So I'm not fearful for him. I'm fearful of what others around him will do
Him.
to him.
Absolutely. That
Mhm.
part. Oh my gosh. So Jackie said, just returned from living abroad for many years. I'm very fearful for my 2 sons and young grandson living here in America. Absolutely. Sophia says, hey Sophia. Hello, Queens. As we know, our men sets the identity of our children, but as a single mother, he did not have a father. I had to teach my now 24-year-old son what I thought a man should be, along with my dad, church family, male figures. Praises be to God, I have very handsome young men, and to God be the glory. Absolutely, because we can't do it all. And Sophia also writes, yes, the fear of raising a Black king's son is very challenging, especially at such a time. It's it's been the anointing oil, prayer, the blood of Jesus. I believe that. I have my days, but I have always been very transparent with my son, so he could be ready and never surprised. Praying for our Black young boys, young men, and seasoned men, binding up premature deaths, racism, wrongful treatment, and losing God and losing God's protection, justice, safety, anointing, and love over our Black kings. Absolutely. And I when I say I believe all of that, so my story is a little different. So absolutely I am scared because I have a 21-year-old son that is serving 10 years in prison right now. So I am very grateful, right, that he's in jail versus the grave. But I remember when I would hear cop cars wondering if they were going to come ring my doorbell because my son had done something. I remember when he would walk out the door wondering if I would see him again, right? I remember when I did get the phone call at 4 in the morning, I remember thinking, is this the call to come identify his body? What is this? Right? Um, it hurts today, right? Because I think about the times that what if he had gotten pulled over? Because I know my son in his mouth, right? So now the cop is saying, "Show me your ID," and he like, "For what?" You know what I'm saying? And it gets really ugly really fast. So I thank God that my son is in jail versus 6 feet under. But then I have a grandson, right? And because he is developing a slight anger because of all that's going on. He's like, I can't see my friends, I can't go to school, I can't, so his anger, I'm just like, whoa, we need to nip this, because outside of me, I can handle you, right? But if you go out there, then what? I can remember, yeah, like I can remember a couple months ago, my daughter, my oldest daughter, was coming to get her children from my house. She got into a car accident. Long story short, they end up arresting her over nothing. My son-in-law, her husband or her fiance, came to, see about her, like, man, what happened? The police officer ended up arresting him and filing charges saying that he had tried to attack him. Now, if you know my son-in-law, he don't even talk. Like he no, he don't. He be. It's just not him, right? I don't care how mad he gets. Like I've seen him. He's been around for 4 years. Like, no, that's not what happened. And the cop was our color, right? So that really made me mad. I was like, how dare you? And when I was asking this particular cop, like, well, what happened? He was like, well, I got to tell you, you ain't his mama. Whoa, sir. So I'm very afraid for my grandson. I'm very afraid for my grandkids, because he's the oldest grandson. I've got maybe, I don't know how many grandkids I got now, y'all, but I got like 4 or 5 grandkids, the boys, that are ranging from 1 years old all the way to 11. What happens 3 years from now, 4 years from now, 5 years from now? I work in a school from K through 12, right? So I see all kinds of silliness, right? Well, I don't like him, so now everybody want to jump on the boy because you, come on. So I am terrified for my grandson and my grandchildren. It's just so much happening. It's so much happening. And then as far as, going to school, I remember my kids were on a school bus, and I used to be like you, like, okay, when they gonna walk through the door? Okay, it's 3:55 now. The bus usually come at 3:51. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do I need to get them a cell phone? And they literally, the school is a block away. But on the school bus, they drop other kids off and all of that good stuff. And I'm just like, we shouldn't, as mothers, have to feel this much fear. So, Francesca, this is where I need you. What do we do as mothers that we're not this fearful, right? Because I get it that society and the world will be the society and the world, but how do we keep from being this fearful that they can't walk the dog, or they're having nightmares at night, and how do we keep from, what do we do?
So this is a question that is just like, you kind of don't have the words. You don't know what to say, right? Like, I think as I listen to all of you, I'm so appreciative to what you've shared. One of the things that we can do is we can use that fear to drive every decision that we make when it comes to our sons, especially, right? Like, one of the things that I'm not sure who said it, but just this idea of education, right? We have to educate our young men on how, unfortunately, they have to live in this world. Like, that bothers me when I say that, but we have to educate them on their roles in this world, who they are in this world. Like, they're treated differently simply because they're brown boys, right? Simply because they're Black boys, they're treated differently. And so we can educate them on what that means, right? Like, there's often, when my son was younger, I had to teach him, you can't wear certain clothing, right? Like, you're going to be a target if you wear a certain clothing. You can't have a certain haircut, right? Because you're going to be a target for that certain haircut. So everything, every fear, every concern, every worry I had, I turn it into a life lesson, right? Like, everything you do, you kind of have to give an explanation for it in order for them to understand yeah, this is why life looks different, for you. Not because you're less educated, not because, your parents don't make a certain amount of money, not because you don't live in a particular neighborhood. You're different simply because of the color of your skin that you were born with. That's something to be proud of, but that's also something that we have to learn how to use to our advantage to try to kind of beat the system, if that makes any sense, right? Like just trying to educate them as much as possible. And then what someone said earlier, being transparent, right? Like this is why we do what we do, right? When you for our kids who especially have a cell phone, when you make it to destination A, text me, call me, let me know that you're there, right? Rakia, as you said, hey, when you go to walk the dog, this is what you need to do. Like, this is annoying. Yes, I know, but mommy says this
Right.
because mommy wants you to be safe, right? Jamisha, Ezra's son, hey, when you get on the bus and on the train, this is what you need to do, right? Yep, you're 15 and you want to, sit on the bus wherever you want to, but these are the measures we have to take. And for Joy raising that young man, right, you want to expose them, to certain things to help them at a young age to understand what it all means. But I think we can use these moments of fear, concern, on edge, all the words that you guys use, we can use them as life lessons, and we can use them to educate. And here's the scary part: we can do all of this and our children can still become a victim, but at least we can teach them to have this information, to know how to react or not to react if they find themselves in trouble. And again, I think the most important thing we can do is take this fear, worry, concern, and make it a driving force to educate our children and to let them know, hey, we're here to support you. But unfortunately, this is the world that we live in, and this is how you have to live in this world, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. Ladies, we're gonna wrap it up with one last question, and then because this was an amazing conversation. So if I haven't said it already, I'm going to tell you now. Thank you so much for being a part of raising a king as a single mother. I appreciate each and every one of you. So the last question that I'm going to have for tonight, um, as a single mom, what's hard for you? What's hard for you as a mom? Anybody can go.
I think you have us stumped here. But as a single mom, I think the hardest part for me, and it's gotten easier as my son has gotten older and I've grown, is dealing with an inconsistent, the other parent is inconsistent. The other parent can go months without communication, right? And then understanding that my son is dealing with that and processing that in ways I don't understand. I'm a daddy's girl, to my core. And when my son was younger, different moms make different choices. I'm not judging, but it got to a point where if dad has issue with me, then now you don't want to be a parent. So I'm like, let's cut that off completely and nip that in the bud.
Yeah.
And my son, so when he started kindergarten, it was like all heck broke loose, right? No cursing. But I reached out to therapy,
Numerous.
Children's Memorial. This is above me, right? This is above me. But that's been a concern in parenting, how he's really adjusting and processing that. Because when my son was younger, I used to ask, like, have you called your dad? And I don't remember how old he was, but he said he don't call me, so I'm not calling him. Because as a child, that's not his responsibility. So that is my biggest struggle. I could be the best mom. My grandparents can be great, the extended village. But when your parent, just how you're processing whatever that is, not having a present parent consistently, yeah.
I get it. I get it. I'm with you. I'm with you. What, Rika, do you have any, what hard parts for you?
Um, Man, I think it's a lot of them. I think that question is like, man, it's a
It is. It's a
mouthful
loaded
because
question, right? It's a loaded question
yeah,
because
because it's
I
not just
want our
one thing.
audience too to realize that we kill, we're successful, but we are still struggling in some areas, right?
Right,
I need you to understand. I need the people to understand that we're still struggling in some areas.
right. Yeah.
Um, so if you
And
just
it's
had
a
to pick
number.
one, what would your like struggle be? Because I get it, I got plenty too. I'm probably having one as soon as I get off of this live and go upstairs so these kids can smile at me.
Right. It's like, which one do you pick? Man, I think, wanting that male role model to be around, you know, and not just saying, oh, I desire to be married or I desire this, which I do. Um, having that in my mind, like, and I don't want to say, where are these amazing men, right? Because
I'm gonna say, where are you? Hi, yeah, single mother.
if I could be honest, that's what I think. Like, I don't know where they at. And
Yeah,
so I want my son to have someone amazing in his life. If someone does come into my life, that background check gonna be extensive.
you hear me?
I mean, listen, I'm gonna call it all my Navy friends. Like, look, so we just have to make sure. Like, that's huge to me. That is
Yes,
huge for me because especially now in 2021, things are crazy. Things are crazy, and you don't know what motives people have. You don't know their agendas. You don't know. You meeting new people, especially these men. It's like, what are you going to bring to the table?
and
Like,
we're not
that's
talking about
really,
the finances. That's something
we're not
else.
talking about
But
your
we're talking
finances.
about,
Like,
can you be a father figure
right?
to the
Are you
kids that live in this
somebody?
house?
Right. The question is, like, are you somebody that my son can look up to? You know,
Absolutely.
not like, what can you really bring to this table? Because I bring the whole table, so I need to know
I mean,
what it is. What you going to do for my son? How are you going to be an example to him
yeah,
as
yeah.
a man? You know what I'm saying? Like, man, that's one thing that I really am thinking and am praying about because I'm like, I
I am.
can't tell him how to be a man. Just like you asked us earlier, can you show him how to be a man? No, I'm not a man, but when that person does come into my life, I that's something I really think about. Like, do I even want somebody to come in my life right now?
I
I'm
mean,
like,
there's that. Okay. Yes. Right.
that can go
Like,
on a whole
because
nother show. Like,
as a single parent, because trust me, that's the next one. As a single parent, we do think about that, right? Like when
yeah,
because you being nice to me, you doing for me, you being there for me, that's one thing. But when I introduce you to my home and the fact that there's a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old in my home that lives here every day, all day,
all day,
what? Let's
all
sit at the
day,
table
all
because
day, and they eat. Like Jamaica said, they eat all day. They don't do 3 meals a day. That's like 7. Okay. So, they eat, how are they going to look at you? Like, do you pray? How do
don't
you
come over
carry
here and take your
yourself?
shoes off and lay on my couch. Don't do
Right,
it.
right. Like, how do you carry yourself? Are you chewing with your mouth open? Like, what are you doing? Do you respect your mom? Do you like the questions
Oh
go
my
on and on and
God.
on? There's
Yes,
no perfect man, but it's there are values. Like I said earlier, there are morals that I'm very strong about, especially now that I've been through what
absolutely.
I've been through over the past 10 years.
Absolutely.
Listen, my bar is up here. Like, you don't meet this standard, sorry. So that's one thing I really am concerned about when it comes to my son. Like, he needs to have a good role model if and when that person does, appear.
Absolutely. I agree with you 110%, honey. And I'm gonna call you because we're gonna have to talk about the other show. But Joy, Joy, what is your struggle? And I know we have a lot, so don't get
Ooh,
me wrong that I think this is your only struggle, right?
right,
Because again,
right.
I'm gonna have a whole struggle when I go up these kids and these
I
kids.
got a whole
Because it's
page, a
A
whole
whole list.
so yeah. So what is the one thing you want the audience to know tonight? Because I get it. It's a lot happening for us
Oh,
single
it
parents.
is a lot. So just to piggyback how Janisha was saying, that inconsistent parent, with my son, he's expressed a lot. And then to go back to what you said, Makita, about your son having or your grandson having some anger, that's where my son is right now. He's expressing a lot of anger, and it's showing in a lot of different areas, like in school, just little stuff. He just
Mm,
blows up. And it's like, teaching him like, okay, when something doesn't go that way, you can't just let
yeah.
everything go haywire. So him expressing, he showed a lot of anger and just hate towards not like why doesn't my dad call on me? Why doesn't he check on me? How come he can go a year, without seeing me? Stuff like that. So that um I think just having all the answers, a lot of times as mothers, we're the nurturers. So our kids, they always, 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 always come to us for answers. Like some days I just don't know, baby. I
I
don't
don't know.
know. And I think me, especially with me being young or younger than probably some of the other moms, just healing myself so that my son doesn't have to go through the same things that I went through, or so that he's not the man that uh, was coming into my life in the past, healing myself so that he can see his mom is wise enough to make decisions. She's strong enough to, have a head on her shoulder. She ain't all strung out, not just on drugs, but just
But
strung
just
out emotionally.
absolute. That is
Yes,
an amazing
depressed.
point. It don't have to be
Depressed.
drugs.
It
If she's
doesn't have
never
to
at
be
home because
drugs.
she with the boy next door, if she never at
Right.
home because she, you
Right.
know,
Or just
like
so depressed to the point where she can't function, she can't, talk to her child, she can't just be there in the presence. I know
in
that's
the
what I
moment.
struggle with a lot. It's, I'm so fixed on, okay, I want to make a better future. I want to get it right. I'm so focused on the future that sometimes I feel like and other mothers too might feel this way, that we miss the mark in being present. So healing me so that I can be there for my son, healing myself so that my son can get all of his mommy, not just the mommy that just can take him places, the mommy that just gives him nice shoes but the mommy that can be there when he's just down and can't talk, the mommy that shows up to school events when she can, the mommy that's, I always tell my son, I'm gonna be the mom that's on the sidelines, like, yes, that's my baby,
The one
just
that's
get all,
loud and they be
yes,
like,
because
"You
I
was
want him to
embarrassing me."
know that you can have support. You don't have to be ashamed of having somebody in your corner, whether it is just me. I'm gonna always be there physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally for him. So those are
Wow.
my
And let me
feelings.
tell you, ladies, from one single mother to another, those are all of my struggles, right? Those are all of my struggles. I struggle daily with making sure they know that they are loved. I struggle every day with making sure they know I'm here no matter what. I don't care how mad you make me. Because I can remember a conversation me and my grandson had, and he was in trouble, right? And he was like, I just don't feel like you love me. I said, let me tell you something. No matter how mad you make me, I'm going to always love you. Am I going to like your actions? Absolutely not. But I am going to always love you because I am going to always be your grandmother. And he just kind of looked at me with the, oh, but with the same token, like I'm still mad, But we have to reinforce all of that good stuff in our kids. Um, so I just want to leave you with that. Like I struggle with those. All of that is my struggle as well, especially that whole table thing. Because I bought the table, I built the table. It's the table already here. Like you're gonna have to bring something to the table, baby. Because
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway,
Can I say
let us
something
go.
real quick before
Yes.
you, because I know we're about to end, but I just want to say, number one, thank you for having this conversation because it's so needed. And the fact that even though in this last round where we just went around and said, what is our major struggle or what's one of them, as we saw, nobody was first to just be like, oh, my struggle is, because it's so much. Like, it's so much. And we can all relate, not just the mothers that are on this platform, but anybody watching. It's like we go through about 9,000 different emotions a day,
A day.
different struggles. Yeah. And we're constantly thinking. Because as a mom, you're not just a mom, you're an entrepreneur. You're, if you work, you're
Oh,
the
we
if you have
teachers in
siblings, you're the
2021.
sister.
Like, we
Yeah,
teach.
you the chef, you're everything. So
Yeah.
sometimes it can get like, oh my gosh, I just need a moment to like, you know what I mean? You're everything to everybody. And then if you're in business, it's you're everybody looking at you.
Yes.
So it's like,
This can't fail because this is not going
right,
the way. You know what I'm saying?
right. So it's like that balance, and I don't even like using that word because what I've come to realize, there is no balance in
There
life.
is no.
It's
There
just
is.
stop
You
using
are
that word, because that holds people in bondage or captivity, just thinking, oh, I have to have a balance, and then now they're trying to figure out how to balance and how to. No, life is never going to be perfect and balanced, and everything is like, oh, okay, it's balanced now. No. So just hearing everybody's response, we all are going through all of those at any given point of the day, you know.
the day, not
So,
the week, the month, the day.
the day, every hour, it's like, okay, we're just trying to make it through the day. So I come in all of you, all of us, just for just for wanting to have the best for our sons, because there's a lot of moms out there who are single moms who could care less. I've seen them. And so just know that we can all relate. Let's all be here for each other, emotionally, spiritually.
Absolutely.
We need to be praying for one another, lifting each other up constantly, because it's needed. Like, it's so needed. And we can relate. That's what we have to remember. Like, we're not
Absolutely.
by ourselves. We can all relate to each other, and we need to know we're not by ourselves struggling, or the mental struggle or whatever. We're not by ourselves. So keep that in mind, and know, even though people are quarantining, you don't have to quarantine by yourself. Like, we are a community, and we need to remember that, and really, really build that, and not forget it.
Absolutely.
And
Oh,
I would add to that, like, salute yourself, right? You're
Yes.
so right,
Yes.
Ricky, when you say it's not a balance, it's a juggling act, and you're juggling an
Everything.
unbelievable amount of not just balls, but you're juggling kids, and you're juggling work, and you're juggling so many things. So one, like, definitely salute yourself, celebrate yourself, right? As moms, we are the last to get whatever, right? We're last to get the piece of chicken. We're last to get, in the bathtub. We put ourselves last because as great moms, that's exactly what you do, right? You put yourself last. So celebrate yourself, right?
Yes.
Pat yourself on the back. You deserve that, right? And I think also too, and Makita, no, this is my favorite word. Give yourself grace. Like, be grateful
great.
to yourself, right? Like, be graceful to yourself. Don't be, when I was a single mom, I used to feel so bad about, like, doing something for myself, right? Because I used to feel like, well, what kind of mom, takes time for herself and she has these kids? And I had to learn, like, no, if I don't take care of me, then who are going to take care of the kids, right? And and I don't think this things I have to tell you guys, but just like, making sure you're saluting yourself, making sure you're keeping yourself encouraged, make sure you pat yourself on the back. And I think most importantly, make sure you're celebrating yourself, because your kids, you are the most consistent thing in your children's life, right? Like, the other parent may not ever show up for our sons, our daughters in the way that we want them to, but they can know, hey, at the end of the day, mom is going to get on my back. She's going to, she's going to stick it to me, but she loves me. And it's not just words, it's in your deeds, right? And so, continue to be the awesome, wonderful, beautiful Black queens you guys are, and celebrate that, because when you do, regardless if the world doesn't, that's truly what it's about. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. We're gonna do these last comments. I'm gonna say my last thank yous. This conversation, as I knew it would be, was absolutely amazing, and it was absolutely needed. There are mothers of kings and queens that don't even realize, right, that we in this together, as Rika said, we're in this together. Um, it gets. I want to say it gets easier. I want to say that, but it gets easier when you get processes and you figure out what to do. You it's gonna always be some bumps in the road, right? But I promise you, the motherhood of raising children, the I don't know, it's like adjust your crown and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the only thing that I can say. Adjust your crown, baby, because we're gonna keep it moving. Because these boys need somebody that's consistent.
Yeah.
Right? Girls, as you know, because we girls, we can kind of be like, whatever. I mean, it affects us, don't get me wrong, but our boys, they require it. They need consistency. And if all they got is us as consistency, we got to show up every time.
Yeah.
We got to show up. And what came to my mind is dad gets to say, I don't have it. And mom got to make a way. I get it, right? I've been a single mother for 29 years. I got 5 children. I have been a single mother for 29 years. I get it. I totally get it. I'm going to do these comments real quick. So Sophia said, girl, say that. I still be bothering my son. He calls and say, Ma, I'm cool. I get, yes, honey. Sophia will call her kids 17 times a day. She do not care. Sophia said, so true. Jackie said, thank you, ladies. This was so amazing. Many blessings. Thank you, Jackie. Andrea say, I get it. I do. I promise you, that's my favorite word, but for real, I get it. Then Misa, I want to say, says, talk about it, friend. I think this is Joy's friend. And then Sophia said, having to see my older 2 children mourn the loss of their fathers due to gun violence. Both adult children fathers were killed in Chicago. I am learning how to help them. Her story
I'm
is
so sorry, Queen.
Yeah, her story is like amazing. Like wow. And she is still, you know what I'm saying? She still got her mind to tell the story. So it's amazing.
And I'm sorry, Makita, when I saw that, I'm like, that's another topic, right? There's so many moms who are single parents because they're raising their children because the other parent is no longer here, right? Like that's a whole other topic. Yeah.
When I tell you guys that this platform, the Art of Transparency, and I know I'm doing the comments, I'm gonna get back to that. The Art of Transparency was built on transparency, right? I'm going to tell the stories that most people don't want to hear. I'm going to make sure that this platform gives people, not just parents, not just mothers, fathers, people a voice. There is so much happening, right? There is so much happening that we are sometimes losing our voice. Now, the Art of Transparency is going to make sure that we have a voice, and we have a voice that needs to be heard, period. So there will be plenty more discussions because, like I said, I definitely want to do the discussion on what does that look like when you get a boyfriend as young kids. You know what I'm saying? As a single parent that's been single for all these years, and you got kids out. What does that look like? What does that
Look, none of us know. Well, I don't.
Count me in. I have some clues because my son is like, not that one.
We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the violence, right? Because I too could have been a mother that lost her son to violence. We're going to talk about that because it needs to be talked about. We're going to talk about fathers that are raising their children because the mother walked away. Because while we're all these single mamas, hurrah, hurrah, there are some single fathers that the mother was like, here go your baby, I'm done, I'm through. And she walked away and never saw her baby again. I know I'm raising one, yeah. But so I get it. right? It's gonna be so much. Just stay tuned, y'all. Stay tuned. So the next one is the conscious mommy. Absolutely. Reginald says, ladies, I salute you and stay encouraged. Thank you so much, brother. Um, me says sisterhood. Absolutely. Sophia says, might not get no chicken feeding the babies. Baby, honey, depending on what that budget look like, honey, you better go get you some pies. They be on sale for 79 cents a pound. And then Kimberly looks like she gave us some hearts. Sophia said, Amen. Sophia gave us some more hearts. And then she said, raising a dead man's child, not once, but twice, writing my second book now. Love you, Queen. She has an amazing, amazing story. She was actually on the Art of Transparency tour in 2019. So I have gotten to know her, and I've seen, what that does to her emotionally when she tells that story. So but we're going to talk about all of it. I promise you, this is just the beginning. So, again, Queens, I thank you so much for even trying to raise our kings, right? This was an amazing conversation. I think there will be a part two because we need to get a little bit deeper in what that looks like to raise these babies as single mothers. So there probably will be a part two, but I want to thank you, Joy, for taking the time to be here. I want to thank you, Rika, for being here. And I want to thank you, Jamesia, for being here. And thank you so much, Francesca. I'm going to be calling you because this needs to happen. This needs to be talked about. I'm going to talk about the stories that they don't want to tell. I don't want to talk about the news, and I don't want to talk about COVID. I want to talk about what matters. And this is what matters. So I thank you guys.
Thank you.
I thank all of the viewers. Any last words, ladies? And we out.
I just want to say thank you for this. Thank you for the conversation. It definitely needs to happen. So I appreciate you and your platform and even reaching out to me and having me on the platform to be able to share, because the point is there are other people going through the same things that we go through. And for women to know you're not alone, like Rika said, there's a community. Find your tribe, but there are mothers who are really raising their kids and care about, their kids and how our kids turn out and how they go about in society, and finding those people of like minds that are raising their kids the same way and saying, hey, let's connect or just talk and process some things. And most importantly, thank you for having a clinical person on as well, because I think that therapy in our community is looked down upon. So I saw my mom go to therapy. My grandma was like, baby, don't be afraid, of therapy.
Yeah.
So me and my son, when he was younger, were in therapy together. Like, we got to figure this thing out, not being opposed to a counselor, a therapist, seeking out that extra step. And you just have no clue how it can help you process some things and really handle some stuff.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's why she's here, honey. That is why she is here. Because I believe in therapy. Yes, I believe God is amazing and he will turn your darkness into day, all that good stuff. But I also believe he gave these people a degree for a reason. he allowed the therapist to be therapists for a reason, and we need to, really use that. So, any last words, Rika?
Man, I second what Jamesia said. A therapist is needed, like for real. My son been through therapy. I've been through therapy, and I'm about to sign up again. Okay, right? Just like you take your car into a mechanic, or there's mechanics. You're not gonna pray and be like, Lord, fix my car. No, take it to the Honda dealership, take it to the Mercedes dealership, like, you know what I mean? So of course you're definitely gonna pray, definitely.
And lay on that.
But some things are just like, we have to handle that. When you want a flat stomach, you go to the gym and you work out. You might hire a trainer that knows more than you, or that can walk you through it. Because sometimes you might know how to work out. You just need that extra, that push, that the motivation.
Somebody do it like this. Come on,
right? Like, come on, you can do it. Let's go. And so the therapist, they're there for different reasons. They're there for different reasons. One person might need therapy for one reason, another person might need it for a whole different, you know what I mean? So definitely, especially in our community, like she said, we have to not, uh, we have to have a paradigm shift.
Yeah.
That's what we have to do, and really understand that we can't always break down everything that we're thinking or feeling, and a third party may need to come in and say, okay, let's look at it this way. Have you looked at it this way? Let's talk to this person. Let's do this, and just give you some options to have you broaden your mindset to help you through life, right? Um, and so I totally agree with her on that. And again, know that all of us, we're not alone. We are
Yay.
not alone. We would
Not
think
at
that,
all.
that goes through our minds all the time. Like, I'm the only one dealing with this. I'm. And man, if I cannot say that enough, just know that we are not alone. We are an inbox away. We're a phone call away. We can reach out to each other, and don't be afraid to reach out. If you reach out and somebody is like, I want to talk to you, well, then that's just not the person to
That's
talk
not
to.
your tribe. Move
Right.
on. You need to delete it.
Don't be
That's,
afraid
that's
though
not your,
to
that's
reach out and say, hey, I need help. Hey, what do you think about this? And you'll know who's your tribe and who's not. And we just gonna move forward, keep it moving, stay encouraged, and we got this. 2021. Let's go.
Thank you. Joy, any last words, my love?
Oh, Makita, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. This is like my first podcast panel discussion type of thing. And I love talking about motherhood, especially coming from a young mom, because a lot of people think like, oh, young moms, they don't know. So I always see myself as kind of like an advocate or just a voice for young Black mothers that, it's possible. I have my son at 16, graduated from high school, top half of my class, went to college, graduated on dean's. So I want to be that face for young Black women. Like, you're not a statistic. Your strength, and so we are resilient. So thank you to Nikita, to Miss Francesca, to Jamesia, and Tarika for letting me be on a panel with you all. To the audience that's watching, the mommies, just know you can do it. Keep grinding, keep raising those young kings, keep instilling in them all that they need to know, because they are beautiful, brilliant young Black boys. But thank you so much. I think definitely needs to be a part two, definitely more conversation. And I always tell people to choose joy. So thank you.
Choose joy.
Yes.
Absolutely. Before we hear from our amazing clinical therapist, I just want to once again say thank you to you all for being on the panel. Thank you for the audience. Thank you so much for chiming in with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me tell you, this is not it, right? This is not the last of this, because conversations need to happen, as I said before. And we're going to have those conversations. And Joy, I just need you to know I had my first baby at 14. So you can do it. Anything can be done. Don't make me a statistic because I had a baby.
Right.
That ain't got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not your statistic because I had a baby. I still graduated from high school. I still did what I needed to do. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a job. Like, I'm still doing it. And my kids are doing fine. That 29-year-old is just fine. So know that you can, baby, please. Age is just that, a number. Should we have kids that age? Absolutely not. But we can still make things work. We can still make things happen, and we can still be very successful. Very successful. So, Francesca, I'm going to let you close us out. Tell us.
One, it has been an absolute blessing, honor, and a privilege to sit among such amazing, amazing people. Makita and I met through a Facebook post probably about 2-3 years ago, and we've been connected ever since. And it had, so whenever she inboxes me, I'm always like, oh yes, So it has been an honor and a privilege to sit amongst you guys tonight, to hear your stories. And as we've already said, like, just you guys are doing it. So keep doing it, right? Give yourself grace. Be good to yourself. For all of our viewers, you are sitting amongst a panel of amazing entrepreneurs, amazing women who are doing their things in the midst of juggling so much. So I hope the takeaway tonight you give yourself is that I can do this too, right? In the midst of it all, as you guys have said, find your village, find your tribe, and run with that, right? Get that support system that's strong, that is not just about you pouring into it, but they're pouring into you, right? Like, hey, we may just need to have a phone call where I vent this Tuesday and you vent Wednesday, but we're making sure that we're checking in with each other. And as someone, we all said tonight, adjust your crowns and keep going, right? You are doing it, so keep doing it. You're amazing. You're wonderful. Pat yourself on the back, toot your horn. You deserve it all. And it has been an absolute blessing to be on this panel tonight. So again, thank you so much to each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, Facebook, YouTube. This has been a great conversation. We will have part 2. I'll get it scheduled as soon as possible. Thank you so much, each and every one of you. Thank you for tuning in and staying tuned in all this time. I appreciate that. The Art of Transparency will be back on Sunday with 2 amazing AOT speakers, and I will see you then. Have an amazing night, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.